Boom, and we're live. Hello, hello. It is Wednesday. It is time for MOOC office hours. I'm here in London at Makers Academy, learn to become a web developer in 12 short weeks. Thanks so much to Makers Academy for providing the location. Paul is with me here in person, and we've got Dag and Viv and Petra on the remote. And there are people asking questions in the remote environment. There's Rashmi there, Rashmi Gupta, who maybe will join us and explain this question in more detail. I guess let us start by going onto the old screen share, get that exciting infinite regress. I will bring up this window and replace it with this window, maximize that. So here we are. Personally, I'm a bit confused about all the week numbers. I think we've just released the week 3 material. That sounds about right to me, but I'm certainly ready to be corrected on that. So let's go to the courseware. Kind of not getting. Let's check the window there. Yeah. So in particular, if I go to the student view, we can see that the screen share, get that exciting infinite regress. I will bring up this window. Michelle is here with some audio going on. I just pardon me for muting you, Michelle. I think you're playing one of you're probably playing the live stream as well in the background. Let's go back into the courseware. Here we go. Yes. So yeah, we've just released the week 3 materials. We've just released the week 3 materials on project management. The legacy homework 1 is due tomorrow. Legacy homework 2 will be released tomorrow, and I guess tomorrow is the last chance to get 75% on the Oracle of Bacon RESTful homework. So yeah, I guess the place to start is maybe just to wrap up on the Oracle of Bacon RESTful homework. I think one thing that was mentioned last week, I don't know if it was by one of the people who's here with us now, was that in the Oracle of Bacon homework, there are some places where it says sort of pause for reflection. That was the background there. Maybe not in that section. But so we had, there's these questions for self-reflection. Are people particularly interested in going through these? I don't know if the person who recommended or was particularly interested in that last week is here again this week. Moises Mann has joined us. Hola, Moises Mann from Peru. Very, very good to have you with us. Do people even, do people have any requests about, I guess, do anybody have any questions on the front of their mind, or you're all happy to let me drive you in random directions as is my wont? And after that,
I think we could go over this.
Yeah. So why don't we do that? I guess what I will do in the background, in order even to be able to address those, I'm going to increase the screen size on that a little bit as well, is maybe let's just review. Let's get the Oracle of Bacon code up. I have rebooted my computer, so let me get the VirtualBox running. I've also got, I don't know if anybody here. Okay, ignore. I'm fine. I think it's this one. Start that up. We've got this new MCafe survey that's going out. I don't know if anybody filled that out. We got various feedback from people. I thought we might review that. But let's start off looking at code. So if we go in here and we have a look at, we were looking at typo last week. If we go and look at, let's have a look. Let's look at the documents. I want my temp directory, like so, and we'll go into Oracle of Bacon. There we go. Right. So that's the Oracle of Bacon shell, at least. And so the first point for reflection, if we just hide that and move out of the way, is we've got, so our response object manipulates an internal variable AppDoc. Why didn't we expose it with attribute reader doc? Let's go and have a look at the code there. Hopefully, actually, maybe sensibly, I'll get the same information up in here. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Does anybody have any thoughts immediately on why we would do that? Oh, and just log that in the background. While that's working, we'll go over here. Yeah, so we've got this AppDoc instance variable inside the response internal class, and we've got that's initialized to the Nokogiri XML. We could have put a method here. We could have added to the attribute reader method to make that visible to people outside. Any thoughts from anybody on why we wouldn't do that?
Is it because it doesn't have to be exposed outside that class? Because isn't it data type the only thing we're concerned about?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess for at least as regards how it's been described to us that the way the system's going to work is we're only concerned about the type and the data. And so if we take this as our kind of like high-level specification of how the system is supposed to be working, then yeah, it's like that's sort of we're exposing more than is necessary. I mean, it might become necessary in the future to expose more sorts of things, but this is I would argue this is sort of an example of the decorator pattern where we've got potentially a very complex object underneath that we're setting there, and just we're trying to make the interface that the end user is dealing with to be as simple as possible, and so we only expose the things that we need. Does that sound reasonable to everyone? Any other thoughts on that there? So we've got a new person who's got a Cyrillic character set, so I can't pronounce the name, but welcome, Cyrillic character set person. I feel bad that I don't know Cyrillic, I can't pronounce Cyrillic. And I guess there's a kind of, I think in particular, I've been doing a lot of JavaScript recently, the interesting contrast between JavaScript and Ruby here is that by default, in JavaScript, you can read and access every instance variable, and you can just like sort of play with them and it's all good fun. Ruby takes the position that by default you're not going to be able to access them, and that's sort of seen as a kind of a stronger form of encapsulation and kind of potentially creates less problem down the road. But yeah. Anyhow, okay. So if we've addressed that first point of reflection, let's go on to, I think they were all in this parsing XML responses. We had another one here which was what does the keyword private do right after the constructor, and why did we use that here? So if we go back to look at the constructor, oh, we used that right here. Here we go, yes. So this on line 57 here, so the numbers are wrong. But yeah, so we've got the private keyword, which I don't know that was necessarily particularly mentioned in our rushed overview of Ruby in the first part of the course. Does anybody know why we have that private method here, or what the consequence of having that private method there is? And those of you in the cloud, feel free to answer in chat, and I will observe and reflect. Nobody going to venture. Have people seen that private thing elsewhere?
So basically, only objects with the class response call first response method. So it protects it from being called by calling it from outside.
Yeah, but basically that's the effect of it. It's the private. I mean, if we were doing, it's sort of interesting in that if we can compare with Java, for example, if we were defining the pass response method in Java, we might do private. Does it return anything? Not particularly. Void. We would do something like parse response. Some parameters. In Java, you declare this privacy of methods or otherwise on the individual method level. In Ruby, you can basically say, I want everything after this point to be private. So both the parse response and parse error method are now internal methods from the class. They can be called, so we can call parse response here from inside the initializer. We can call parse error response here from inside parse response. but it's again in the same manner of not having doc up here. We're reducing the set of kind of endpoints that we can use to talk to the object, and we're kind of saying, look, in terms of my class response, I'm gonna, you can create one of me, you can create a response, and you can query types and data, but that's all I'm saying. I make no other guarantees about what you're going to be able to do. If we hadn't had the private method there, then other people could start calling these things, and maybe that was, wouldn't be appropriate. Dag saying there, so we can't access past response rounds of the class. Michelle Garosh to not expose unnecessary methods. Yes, I mean, that's about the size of it. I mean, as a bit of a, hacking up of other people's code, often I find it slightly frustrating when I want to do something, and then I discover that some of the methods are private. There are actually ways around that in Ruby, and in JavaScript, everything goes. And that's why I quite like JavaScript, actually, because I just kind of want to, sort of hack it up and do stuff. I think some people would argue that that's why JavaScript can get into a real mess real easy, because that kind of encapsulation is not enforced, although then there's this argument that you should be doing it with like functional scopes in JavaScript anyway. Yeah, so I don't know. There's this kind of idea that when you're building these things, that you've got some sort of insights into what people will want to use it for in the future, which in some ways is a bit arrogant, really. At the same time, I guess if you see it from another way of looking at it, is that if we're saying, the person who's built this probably understands it better than you do, and they're saying, look, here are some ways in which you can interact with my objects. These other ways, yeah, I don't know, maybe, but that's not really how I designed it for. And I guess in the same way that when they give you a car, right, if you open the hood or the bonnet, there's certain things that are easy to do, like refill the stuff, but you can't get in and like play with the spark plugs quite so easily. And maybe there's a reason for that. That maybe you shouldn't be playing around with that kind of stuff under the hood, or at least if you do, you should be being very careful. And that's more where Ruby is, because you can get access to all these things by using other special method tools and so on. But yeah, it sort of says to you, look, here be dragons. So I think that's probably covered the reflections there. So I mean, I think Amanda pointing out there, both of these questions, they're like, it's style and modularity, it's not correctness. The code would work either way. So if we go on here to constructing the URI, that didn't have reflections. And was there some more? Question for reflection. As mentioned earlier in the course, that .xml files under spec that contain canned responses are sometimes called fixtures. How would you create these yourself when you're developing tests for your own RESTful library? Hint, the command line utility curl may be useful. So I guess, yeah, there's a question there about how do we create these, in this case it's XML, I was going to say JSON, which is of course another popular web format. Does anybody, let's go and look at the files themselves. We've got in the spec here, we've got a number of these XML files like this. Any ideas about how we would create these?
Are we supposed to know the URL?
Yeah, well, I think as we're considering that, one thing we might do is go to the. We've got the link to the actual service. Is that in the background section? I kind of want to open.
It's sufficient to use CURL or any command line tool like this.
Yeah.
And then we have the response.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, we can in principle do it in the browser. The browser will reload for me now. But so yeah, if we look at this, I'm typing the key again. But so if we go and get the URL, I wonder if I go over here and look at something like this. There we go. Yeah. Woohoo. So that's the XML interface there. Actually, one of the I would consider quite a nice way is we could just do this, and then that's let's do it. Oh, I don't know, let's call it test XML like that. So we can do that. And then actually, will it give me Mozilla Firefox tools? I've got downloads. Downloads. There we go. And can I open the closing folder, test.xml, and then open with text editor there. So that's one way to do it. Is that really open? Do I now can't resize it? What's up here? Yeah. But so we could also do that with curl from the command line. Which have we done that before? But if we go and get the same link like that, and I get back into, let's go to wherever we were. Oh, we'll just be in documents. If I do curl this, and I often don't remember precisely the there, like that. Oh, here we go. No query received. So that didn't work. I'm often there's a series of switches that we need to do with curl that I've clearly forgotten. Did that do something into the background? Did I run it twice? But yeah, curl is this powerful tool for just like downloading everything. And there's usually some series of switches which I often can't remember. So yeah, you can see my like, and it does like wow, it does enormous amount. It's I was often the one. What does IN do? Include the HTTP in header and output? No. I often use curl because people like they'll tell you what they'll give you like a curl command with a few flags in it, and then I'll run that, and that's what I'm like happy to do. And then there's like actually, I don't know, is life too short to go and work out everything that curl does? Yeah. Any curl experts here? Let's just try.
Not really.
Yeah. I think we've got it there. I guess. So I don't do Control C. Right. I wonder actually there. It's looked like it's the I. It hasn't. It's kind of like can't handle the ampersand. It looks like it did curl, and it didn't get the. Do you know what I mean? It like we go back here and we just look up for curl and ampersands. Yeah, we go. Right, and it's a problem here. Double quotes take care of the problem. There we go. Okay. So again, we said find shotgun in the air randomly. Let's do that. Thinking about it. Maybe we won't do it. Oh, and it works. There you go. Right. And so you could do that, and then we could pipe that to XML. Like that, and then more. So, shotgun. We'll get those, I don't know, whatever it is we fight in Doom, those Doom monsters eventually. Okay, so I think we've covered, that's all the reflections. Does anybody else have any other reflections on the Oracle of Bacon homework or any other questions relating to that, since that's what we're on at the moment? If not, and I can deal with the mouse view, I think we had and the question's now disappeared. That's annoying. So we did have a question from one person which seemed to be related to like the legacy homework part 1, but that's annoying. But so yeah, and it sounds like we can move on from the RESTful homework. Let's go and have a look at over here. This is the legacy homework 1, where we're basically getting the typo repo. And I think did last week we started going. I mean, I did a setup of the typo in the help video for this. And did we do that again? Oh, maybe last week homework 1 wasn't out.
Yeah, it was
right. It was on the Thursday. Okay, yeah. But so I kind of went over. I mean, it's in the help video. You know, I went through the whole setup process. So I guess people were okay about setting it up and pushing it to Heroku, which I think is still, in principle, you know, it's a big job in itself, making sure that your you know, the Heroku instance of it is all working and everything. And then the key thing here was, you know, you needed to fix a bug. So, did anybody have any questions about that process of of fixing that bug on the categories link in typo?
I guess it might be an unrelated question, but I tried to do like the first one was creating a new category, and the second was the edit. And I just wanted to see where I was at with the new one, so I submitted it, and I didn't get any points back. But then when I completed the edit one, it automatically went both were correct. So I was just curious about that.
Yes.
I'm assuming it's like a RSpec.
Yes, I mean the way that the grader is working for these ones, somewhat slightly annoyingly, is that it's using mechanize to go to, because we're submitting, you know, the URI and the admin name and the admin password. So the grader for these ones is going in and just playing with the app as it is. I believe that the only error, if the actual bug, is the link itself. Like I think the whole category creation and edit functionality underneath is like, did you ever change something to make the editing actually work?
I got the new one, I worked the new, then I did the edit, got that working, and then also both started working.
Okay, right. But you actually had to make some changes in your app in order to make the new one that. Okay, fair enough. Yes. Yes, well, that may have been due to some inconsistency in the way that the grader works in order to hit that part. I think I mean the big question in some ways for this homework is, did you find yourself able to follow the Cucumber RSpec acceptance as unit test thing? Was that difficult to stay on the wagon, or you managed to?
I managed to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I think for some reason I wanted just to do one feature at a time, and then so I got a little.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think that's definitely the right way to go. Is to go with, you know, one feature and get that, you know, get that working. But yeah, I guess you got it so that it was working locally, creating new categories, and yeah, but it didn't all come through until you'd. Yeah.
So maybe if someone else is having this.
Yeah. I don't know. Does anybody in the Hangout, have they been working? Have you guys been working on Legacy Homework 1? Encountered any challenges or issues that you're interested in discussing?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi, how's it going?
Sorry for my bad English.
No problem.
Am I understanding the sequence of steps correctly? First, you go and observe the application, the bug itself.
Yes.
Then you go to and write some Cucumber scenarios that should describe this bug, and then you localize it in its actual place. You see, you look at the controller, maybe or a model, and write some RSpec tests, but it is not a black box at this time.
No, not when you're down to the unit tests. You're making some assumptions about how different components are working. Yeah.
And you should describe this parts that you are going to try to fix.
Yeah.
All of this behavior to don't break it later.
Yes, I mean you're looking to be in a situation where you've got a failing Cucumber test that is, you know, reliably exposing the error that you're seeing in the browser when you interact with the blogging system typo, and then kind of at the point of writing the RSpec test is that you've got an idea that, okay, this is the, you know, this is the place where the error is occurring, and you're even starting to think, I mean, the unit test is really getting down to the level of saying, describing the code that you wish you had, and so the RSpec test will be saying, okay, I'm going to imagine that, you know, I will have fixed the code in this, you know, tightly coupled way to some portion of the system, and your RSpec will be checking for that and will fail, and then you finally add that little bit of code that makes it work, and so your RSpec should then parse, and then ideally, if all of your assumptions are correct, the Cucumber will then pass as well.
Okay, thank you, I understand.
Great. Good show. Okay. So I don't know if it's useful to look more at Legacy Homework 1 or Typo itself. I guess you didn't have any trouble finding the part of Typo that you needed to work on? Oh, okay, it did take a while. Yeah.
Because the routes and controllers were a little different.
And then there's the admin interface, which is sort of nested inside this, that, and the other. And yeah. Sure. Beethoven has joined us. Good to have you with us. Yeah. So I guess unless anybody's got any more specific questions about the Legacy Homework 1, I'm tempted to, well, maybe leave it for a moment, and maybe people will come up, ideas for questions will occur to people. Maybe while we leave that one running in the background, I mean, of course, I don't know if there are any questions about the project management material, which has just been released, to do with version control, merging conflicts, branching, fixing bugs, the design reviews, so on and so forth. We've also got, if I can go and find it, we've also got, I can review and find the right bits and pieces. We've also got, I remember the names of people involved. It's not, is it Mayer? No. It's Goldberg. Ken Goldberg is the professor at UC Berkeley who's doing this MCafe feedback system. So this is the data that we got back from, I think everybody see this now? This is the data that we got back from the people using the MCafe feedback thing for week 1. So we had feedback from 134 students. Of the 10,000 or so registered, there's 134 did the feedback thing. So we've got male-female ratio 5:1. Most students in North America, Europe, 83 and 56. So I mean, I don't know how that's of academic interest perhaps. So we've got like the course, and so people are saying they're grading it. I guess on a scale of 1 to 10. They're giving it like 6 for difficulty, 7 for usefulness, 8 for enthusiasm. That's a well personally, they're great to say for being enthusiastic. Self-performance and effectiveness. And that's spread. We've got the demographics. Most interesting to me is these ideas. We've got this. So part of the idea with MCafe is that everybody can suggest ideas, but then those ideas become visible for people to kind of vote on, and so they would then they rank it, and we get the top 10 ideas. So we've got logistic improvements. I would like to see more finger exercises for the Rails part of the course, rather than having a large single programming assignment. Have more smaller and perhaps repetitious exercises, which would help internalize the various parts of the SAS Ruby on Rails application. Which I would take to mean is that, so if we think about the Rails intro assignment that we have, is that you have an existing Rails app and you have to basically add a sequence of new functionality that is, mediumly complex, I would say. And I guess, for example, I would think of finger exercises as being you could be creating like a series of very much smaller Rails apps that did more specialized things. Did anybody have any thoughts on other people here feel the same, that finger exercises would make sense? Yeah, I mean, I guess we did. You could argue that the Ruby stuff did have kind of finger exercises in that we had both the Ruby intro and the Ruby calisthenics had a series of different Ruby tasks that were kind of largely unrelated, and you could sort of practice them individually. And I'm practicing dealing with strings, and I'm practicing dealing with arrays, and so on. And I guess you could have Rails fingering exercises that would say, let's make some different groups and let's deal with templates, and let's deal with I mean, that's interesting actually. As we've got one of the things that I think we're pulling in the future is using more Sinatra, which is a much simpler Ruby web server application framework. And the thing about Rails is it does tend to pull in. It's like got all this stuff, and it's got all the it's got the templating, it's got the routing, it's got this, that, and the other. And Sinatra, you can kind of like pick and choose which ones you're going to have, and yeah, interesting. Yeah, people in the cloud there, do feel free to comment in the group chat. I guess I should also be checking the. Confused about which mouse I'm using, or my cursor gets reflected. Here we go. Let's check. Yeah, nothing in the Q&A there at the moment. Right, and then 2, would be great if the students have a chance to create little projects, perhaps from a given list of suggested projects done in small group of time techniques learned throughout the course, and to get these projects evaluated by other students on the platform itself. Perhaps it should be optional to the course because not all the students will not be able. I mean, I couldn't agree more myself on having the project things, and as I've mentioned, the kind of what we do have in that regard is that we do have Agile Ventures, and so you could easily take the projects at Agile Ventures as a sequence of projects to get involved in. This is all what many people from the edX 169 have got involved in. They're all projects started by edX 169 people or TAs associated with the course or what have you. So, but yeah, we want to move towards making this more fully integrated into the edX experience. And yeah, what we'll be doing at the end of 169.2, the plan that's emerging for over the summer, as I was talking about last week, is we've got this what's like called a TA training course called Managing Distributed Teams, and that's like a 4-week course that kind of is like a primer for working online remotely, contributing to open source projects, and being a TA for the course. And then it has sort of like a certificate track where you can get teaching TA certificates. And what we're thinking of doing is adding a project track to that as well. So potentially, so that will probably run in August, and then starting in September when the next run of 169 starts, in parallel there'll be a project track. And so people who are interested can get, they could, I mean, yeah, both people who have completed the courses from this run could take those projects, but if people wanted to take the next run of 169 in parallel with doing that project, then that would be great too. Well, we've got, okay, we've got some elements. So Michelle is saying, she said the critical thing at the moment about the course is the emptiness of the chat at UTC time, hence the lack of possibility of real pair programming. And I mean by that speaking, observing, and coding. Right. Yes. I mean, I think we have an issue with the numbers in the course that they go to MOOC and they go down over time. Yeah, and then so like I think it's a particular problem for people in Australia and in the sort of Oceania time zone. There are I think there's a fair number of people in the UBC who are doing the Agile Ventures, but I mean, what we're working on in the Agile Ventures now is a new sort of pair roulette thing, which is hopefully going to be better than the current Google Hangouts events thing, and will increase the chances of finding people who are available to pair on the same homeworks and so on. But yeah, it's definitely an issue, and yeah, anybody to pair with. Yeah, and I think, I don't know, ironically, it's funny because here at Makers, people pay £8,000 time and they take this 12-week course. Because they paid £8,000, they're like here all the time, and you can be guaranteed a pair. And Xavier's joined us. Hey, Xavier. So yeah, I mean, my big hope had been that the pairing, integrated into the MOOCs would kind of would maintain the numbers better. That somehow the pairing would be really engaging, and so you'd have lots more people. At least so far, I don't know that we've seen any significant change in the drop-off in terms of people. I think a lot of people sign up for a free course, and then a lot of people's lives intrude. So yeah, I think at the moment the big challenge is that the Google Plus interface somebody creates an event, but if they then drop out, no one else can start it, and that's a big thing we're trying to address. We're going to fix that. We're fixing that for that with an Agile Ventures version of their events things. I noticed Beethoven asked, do the exercises in the book that extend rotten potatoes address the desire for finger exercises? I don't know. I mean, one of the things that I strongly recommend to absolutely everyone is running through chapter 4 in the textbook and building the rotten potatoes app from scratch. And I think that maybe corresponds more to the finger exercises in terms of, you know, you will build a form that posts some data. It's sort of, and you're building a route and sort of step by step. I think what we would sensibly have in some ways is, you know, we have a kind of a pre-Rails homework that was just following through that thing and then deploying the vanilla rotten potatoes to Heroku and having that graded and so on. Might handle that. But,
yeah, especially those screen.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yes, we do have. We have screencasts, which are now getting increasingly out of date, but for the book. And Armando's re-recording a lot of those. Yes, I think a walk through. I mean, particularly with something like Rails, it's got a lot of moving parts. Walkthroughs of actually building a Rails app from scratch is, at least for me, that's the critical thing, more than necessarily the conceptual overview of Rails, which are clearly very valuable for some people, and Armando gives a great overview of Rails. But when it comes down to, I've actually got to build one of these things, then a kind of a step-by-step of doing that, yeah. And Michelle's saying there are some parts that are not doable in the book. And the book has various deficiencies, and I'm the book's editor, and so that's basically all me. And so my apologies for the parts of the book that are poor, but yeah, my plan over the summer is to like get as many of this as I can fixed. Michelle's saying too old for SSO. I'm not sure what that means, but maybe I'm SSO. Anyway.
Sign. I don't know in English.
Oh, okay, right.
Sign only, you know, signing via server, signing via Twitter or Facebook or so. That
you mean for social media?
In the book, in chapter 5.
Single sign-on.
Dry cleaning and so on, and then there is single sign-on. Yes, perfect.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
I think my suspicion is that the various things in the book are, and this is one of the difficulties. The various things are broken, and one of the difficulties with maintaining a book with these kind of code examples is that they do, you know, particularly using third-party things, they do go out of date. I think what we need, if we're going to be serious about maintaining all these code examples in the book, is we need continuous integration so that the code is checked automatically. At least we have a mechanism for identifying the errors very quickly. But yes, if you know anybody's available over the summer, I'd be very interested to pair program with any of you on addressing these issues. That would be.
I would. Yes, I would.
Yeah, excellent.
Because I don't know how to do this part really. I go up to this part, and then I have a problem with the reviews part. When it works without reviews, but when I integrate reviews, what is
that? We can pay. What I'll do is I'll try and make the sessions that I work on those open as pairing sessions, and I'll advertise them. And you're in Slack in the Agile Ventures, so we'll sort it out in that regard. It might not be for a few weeks, but Beethoven's asking, is the book saying the book is written in integration in LaTeX, so integration testing, the book is possible? Yeah. I mean, we're doing code inclusion. The fact that the repo for the book contains, it's all in the Git, and it contains separate files with the code. So absolutely, continuous integration is possible. It doesn't exist at the moment. We've spent a lot of our coding efforts doing continuous integration on the auto-graders themselves, and that's taken up a lot of cycles. Hopefully, we're getting another TA over the summer who's going to be giving us some more input on the auto-graders, and that might free me up to do continuous integration on the book itself. So we'll see. But yes, so I immediately waxed lyrical about the project thing there. I don't know if did anybody have any more comments related to this logistic contribution, logistic improvement to like to have projects in the courses. since I may have just talked over everybody's individual thoughts there. But I think that there seem to be, I mean, does anybody think that the course shouldn't have projects? Does anybody think that projects like that might detract from, you know, the pure abstract, you know, getting the pure abstract concepts into your brains? We don't want to pollute you with all this real world knowledge. Yeah, I mean, I once taught a Python course and I got some feedback saying, please stop giving us real world examples of usage of Python and just tell us how Python works. And I was kind of like, right, okay, good. Cool. So then we've got materials. So we've got suggestions for people teaching us, including more stuff on security. Yeah, and I think that's interesting. We've got a homework on performance, but we don't have a homework on security. That would be an interesting addition, actually. Yeah, that's a great suggestion. And then there's a suggestion here about cloud computing for malicious attacks. I think actually coming up in is it next week or is it the week after? But in the next 2 weeks we will actually be addressing that. If I can find I'll find this right here. And what is it? Next week is design patterns. No, right. So in week 5, I think we cover security and performance. So yeah, there will be some coverage of that. Then frameworks. Yeah, Node.js. Yeah, Backbone MJS. We've got some coverage of JavaScript coming up, although that's going to be client-side JavaScript. I think it would be totally awesome to have a kind of a whole version of this course that was exclusively JavaScript. I think there are questions about the maturity of the JavaScript framework, and yeah, I mean that would be a big to generate a course like a SaaS course where we just use, for example, we just use Node.js or we just use Python, whatever would be possible. It's just a question of resources to be able to do that. I'd love to. I think I really enjoyed the Coursera course, which what was it? It was called the Startup Engineering course, and that used Node.js, and I loved it. It was great. So if I can work out how to get the free time, I would certainly like to be involved in such a course. And then Beta was asking, any note on how to do Cucumber against Heroku? And I've actually asked the Heroku people about this a number of times. I feel it's kind of odd that we only run our tests against our local machines and so on. And it seems like you should be able to run Heroku in test mode and get the results of running Heroku, running Cucumber tests on Heroku. But basically, nobody seems to do it, and as far as I could tell, Heroku does not provide any support for running the thing in the test mode. Right. But so the autograder works. It does it through a library called Mechanize. So you can run a Cucumber test, or any kind of RSpec or Cucumber or what have you, and you can use the Mechanize library, and so that will then hit it. It actually, I think it doesn't use Cucumber so much as it's using RSpec with Mechanize. So there's a gem called Mechanize that basically allows you to hit different things. Although I have actually, in the past, I've got Cucumber with Capybara to hit static websites. So you can, in principle, do that. But yeah, it'll do it over the network connection, and you don't have access directly to the database. And so if you're hitting some production system, you have to kind of clear up yourself through the standard interface. If that answers Beethoven's question there. Goals like soaks or Corber. To give a good difference with respect to REST, which is the most common nowadays. Yes, I think it would certainly be nice to note how lucky we are to live in a RESTful world, and we don't have to deal with soak or Corber. That would be a good comparison to have. Yes, absolutely. We've also got suggestions here that, yeah, lightweight frameworks such as Sinatra and Backbone. I think we will have Sinatra coming in the full course. Yeah, front-end frameworks like Twitter Bootstrap and others. That would be, yeah, and then jQuery and Bootstrap. Yeah, I mean, that was the thing actually I kind of liked about the Startup Engineering course, which did include Bootstrap and Node.js is that the nice thing about having a really lightweight framework, as in that, like, but same actually with Sinatra, but also with Node.js, is that you can have it running. There's not kind of the ceremony of like a Rails app. If you do like Rails new, it's already created like 50 files for you, and all this stuff's going on. And it then takes a certain amount of time to deploy that to Heroku and whatever. And in the startup engineering course on Coursera, which didn't complete, unfortunately, I think the instructor became ill, but I think you can still access the repositories for it. It was basically, it kind of went through the full stack, and you a little Node.js app, and it was just sort of you were just using that to serve a Twitter Bootstrap page, and there was like a few little micro bits and pieces, and it was all about, rather than building an entire system with a database, I think ultimately you have a small database, it was about getting a prototype of your business kind of off the ground and up there as quickly as possible, which is of course a different emphasis from our course, which is like a lot more about software engineering in general, and like we're going to come up next week with the design patterns, or we're talking about code smells, and so on. So, yeah, there's different, yeah. I think what I'm hoping to see in the future is more. I mean, at the moment, so we're doing our project course, and we're doing it on edX Edge, and it's kind of like it's all in sort of beta mode. But hopefully, what I would really like to see in the future is, as more people get involved in that, is get all of us involved in creating the content, rather than relying upon. And much as it's great that UC Berkeley and MIT and Harvard and Stanford and everybody are producing these courses, there's only. I don't know. There's only so fast the professors can react to producing what people want. It would be really nice to have the course materials collaboratively editable, and then that's what we did with the TA training course. It's just all of the different advantage people in the TA got involved and collaboratively made the materials together. And yeah, I'd like to see a lot more of that. Okay, and yeah, okay, other materials. Okay, yeah, I'd like to see a lecture on the good, secure way to address the community of registering a user and letting them sign on, and how they control what they can and cannot do. I think Amanda did cover OAuth, but then there's a framework for Rails called Devise, which would which covers a lot of that, and then there's like CanCan, which is another gem, which will then do like permissions and so on. Yes, I mean, one could carry that stuff on. That's all really useful. Again, this is the kind of thing that if you come and get involved in Agile Ventures, you can learn all about. And then automated deployments of Puppet, Chef, SaltStack, yes, all great stuff. The lesson on SaaS architecture was hard to understand. It would be helpful to have more examples on the multi-tenant architecture. Right. Okay. Yes. Interesting. I wonder, I mean, if we go to the... I'm tempted to go there, and people just feel free to, I mean, I just sort of went through those last lots fairly fast. If people want to say yay or nay to any of those, I'm interested in hearing it. Let's go and look at SaaS applications. Well, I didn't know that. Did we mention multi-tenant in here?
Yes, I searched.
I mean, I think, I don't know if this is related to, no, I mean, it would, and maybe it's not mentioned in the book. I think one of the things that people come into this course, they're sort of expecting, when they hear it's like software as a service, they sort of think that maybe what they're going to be learning about is how Amazon runs their clusters in the cloud. And, they kind of like, they're expecting to hear about, oh, okay, like, how will I get this, I mean, this thing that Dave talks a lot about at the beginning, which is like, you've got a lot of commodity computers, and then you run them as a cluster in order to build a data center. And that's like, software as a service, like, right, that's what Amazon's doing, right? They're providing all these things. But the course is really about kind of building apps that run on top of those data centers or consume services that are running those data centers, rather than being about how to create like a multi-tenant architecture. But that's what Amazon has with EC2, is a multi-tenant architecture where they, you can basically get a box there, and it's a virtual box that exists in a data center, and maybe you've got, depending upon how much you're paying, you're sharing the actual individual rack with, 5, 6, 7, 20, 150 other people. and they're all like the virtual machine frameworks and so on, whatever. And I guess it's related to the automated deployment thing, which I'm sure Amazon uses. So yeah, it's not really the focus of the course, but maybe people want it to be when they hear songs. Yeah. So I think we've hacked the MCafe input into a hot hat, as they might say. I think we've got certainly lots of input about things to change and so on. While we've been going over that, did anybody have any additional thoughts on the legacy homework? Sounds like people haven't got burning issues in that regard. What was I? I guess the other thing I could just do, since we've got a bit of time, is we could just go and look at the. Well, I guess last week I did create a question which took me some time to try and ask about whether people were enjoying having the stack exchange. And I guess if I look at myself in here, I should be able to see my questions. That's answers, question. What is the optimum forum for the course? And so, yeah, one person at least hates the stack exchange. Not really a discussion forum. I don't care what's hot. I don't care what's answered. I want to see lots of threads in very few page splits. Piazza was good. LS discussions is indeed more discussion forum, but it's pretty limited too. Personally, I think Google Groups is the way to go. Fabulous and little threads. Okay. Right. One person loves it. edX forum. Yeah.
Actually, I've got one issue with the homework.
Yes, Xavier, go ahead.
I tried to build a scenario to try to test edit new category. Mm-hmm. It works on my local laptop, mm-hmm. but not on Heroku.
Okay. Do you want to share your screen and show us some code?
Yeah. Well, actually, it's not totally exact what I said. It works when I do stuff on my laptop, when I do logging onto the application, do it right. by hands. Uh-huh. But when I run Cucumber, it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So okay. I can share my screen.
Yeah, share your screen. Let's have a look at the code.
Yeah.
I guess while you're... All right, let's go. It's coming up. There it is.
So this, do you see my screen?
I do, yes.
So this is a working scenario, and I put in command the one which is not working.
Okay. You can increase the font size slightly. That would probably help the people who are seeing through my. I guess other people. Yeah. We've got a lot of white space there, so we could.
Yeah. How can I do that?
So technically, can you not just do a command plus on there to, or someone suggesting a control plus mouse wheel? I guess you're probably on.
Yeah, I tried that, but it didn't work.
Did command plus not work?
Command plus, yeah.
There you go. Cool. Okay.
So
you want to uncomment the Cucumber scenario? Okay.
And when I run it, it doesn't work on Cucumber.
Yeah, so kick the Cucumber off in the background. It might take a little while to run, and let's look at it in the. Yeah, so one thing that you might want to do, obviously you've done rate Cucumber, is you know that you can do bundle exec Cucumber, and then you can specify the file and even the line number in that file in order to run that single thing. But so while that's running in the background, maybe you want to open and you could do control, was it Command T and open a new tab and do Rails S.
I've got it. It's running there.
Oh, you got it running already. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
But so we're getting I guess we're getting an error there, and the error, that's kind of difficult to see. But I guess you're saying that you've got it checking that it should not see something goes wrong, and in fact it does see that.
Yeah. When I go on my local server,
right.
Can go right there. Everybody will see my password.
Yes, I think you'll probably be all right.
So here, when I go in category, it works. I can edit some things.
Yeah.
Everything works fine.
So you clicked Star Wars there, and then you then clicked the edit button there on.
Yeah, I did. So I've got the Star Wars.
When you click edit, it just adds that to the categories page there. Right.
When I click on edit, it pops.
It pops it into over there. Okay.
With the right information. So it works.
It's all working there. Can we just see the? I mean, could you maybe rerun that? It's very difficult to see actually the text there of the error message.
Is it better?
Yeah, if something went wrong.
In fact, what I did in the scenario, it seems like we've got an issue when I follow Star Wars inside the Cucumber environment, but when I do it for real, it works.
No, sure. I understand the difference there. I think that, so clearly there's something going wrong in the Cucumber environment. You know, we need to see more information about that failure. So I mean, what we want to do really, I think, rather than having the check for whether, it seems something went wrong or not there, is we would want to add, like, use and show me the page immediately after when I follow Star Wars, so we can see, what's happening there. So, for example, if we go into your Cucumber file, and then on line 20, on line 23, after that, when I follow Star Wars, we could do, show me the page. And you might not, I don't know if you've got the launchy gem installed.
I'm not sure I have, but...
No, so if we just look in the gem file. So scroll to the bottom, double click the gem file. So you could just do a search in there, Control F for Launchy, launchy. Okay, yeah. So just add into the development test group. Do gem launchy.
Like that?
Yeah, that's it. No, but not too easy. It's a Y. It's a Y rather than 2 E. Yeah. Okay. So save that and get back to your terminal and run bundle. You can just type the word bundle. Just there. Just bundle. Absolutely. Yeah. So then it will go and download the launchy. The other thing, which you could be looking at in another tab, depending on how fast that. Okay, that's worked. So now do bundle exec. Yeah, do bundle exec. But do cucumber. Don't do rake. Just do cucumber. Yeah. And then do type the character F and hit tab. So F and then tab. It should complete to give you the feature directory. So features there, and you could double hit tab again to give us a list of, I don't know what the right, and then so let's double check what line number that was on in your TextMate.
Sorry about that. It was on. Sorry about that.
Okay. There we go. Yeah. So line 20. So you want to put if you go back to the terminal, if you put no space, delete the space, and then do colon. It's the colon symbol. No, not a comma. You want a colon. So that's like the 2 dots. I think, is that a semicolon you've done? Yeah, 2 dots like that, and then the number 2 and then 0. And so if we hit return there, that's going to run precisely that file and that precise scenario, which one should take less time than everything else. And if the launch gem has been installed properly, what will happen when it gets there is it will load that there. And so that's the page that it's seeing there. Yeah, so I think that's something went wrong. That's like a separate bug to do with the sidebars that's unrelated to the admin thing. I think what's happening there, if I were to guess, is I'd say that in your Cucumber scenario, where you're saying and follow the Star Wars link, right? Let's go back and look at the Cucumber scenario. You're saying on line 23, when I follow Star Wars. If we go and can we go and look at your localhost 3000, the thing running in the browser, just like the local version of the app. So I think just the one tab over. Is it that one there? No. There we go. No. Where were we? Yeah, that's
this one.
Yeah, okay. So there's only one Star Wars. Yeah, actually, Paul just made a suggestion here. Yeah, so you've only got one Star Wars link in that page. But actually, let's go back to the Cucumber. Let's go back to the Cucumber. Yeah, you're saying, like, given I am on the categories page, I guess I would be concerned there about, yeah, because you're doing, like, look on line 15. You're saying, given I am on the admin page, when I follow categories. On line 21, you've got, given I am on the categories page. So is that maybe taking you to the right place? You could put and show me the page after line 21.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I'm not
and check that we're getting into the right part of the admin interface. So you could just save that and then go back to the terminal. And if I were you, I would be switching with using rather than the I would use Command Tab to switch backwards and forwards between the terminal and the editor. I think you'll find that much faster. But yeah, rerun that.
The same one?
To get to the terminal.
The
terminal. There you go. And hit return from there. So this should now, it will potentially end up opening two pages to show us those 2 points in the code, 2 points in the Cucumber scenario. So that first one, yeah. So that was the first one. Let's save it, maybe only with one. Oh, hold on. It's got there. Click on that one there.
Yeah, I'm not on the right page. I'm here. This is the
categories you're going to the categories page for the blog itself, and not the categories page for the admin.
Okay, and he actually sees Star Wars. Okay.
Yeah, it's like read all articles in Star Wars, so it's going to that link, and then
okay, I see what's going on. Okay. Okay.
All right.
And thanks a lot for that. I didn't know the show me the page stuff.
Yeah, that's a really useful trick to have in your box of tricks.
Okay, then I'll be able to correct that. Thanks.
Yeah, great. Okay, cool. Well, we've been going for an hour, and there's been laughing, there's been tears. All the world's a stage. So I don't know what people say. What do we say at this point? Does anybody have anything else they would like to discuss or address or say to the world? If not, I think we'll pull that the week that was week 3. We'll be back next week with week 4. Legacy Homework 2, God willing, will be released tomorrow. I can make it happen. Yeah, and we'll be getting close to the end of 169 Part 2. Thanks everybody for joining us. love doing these things. There's a question that just came up there about will CS169 touch the JavaScript testing theme? I don't know that we will be doing JavaScript. I don't think the course itself covers Jasmine, which is the one of the popular JavaScript testing things, but that is covered in the book, and it's certainly covered in Agile Ventures. And yeah, there we go. Was I going to say something else? I don't think I was going to say something else. I guess we'll look at yeah, stuff coming up. I mean, I guess I can give you a sneak peek of all the pieces. If we go into student staff view there. No, don't go there. What are you doing? Oh, that's hard. But so we can see, yeah, so we've got coming up just next week design patterns, and we've got JavaScript, and then we've got all this, that's the rest of the course. Yeah. Was I going to say anything else? I think that's it. But yeah, did I say it or just think it? Yeah, Agile Ventures. Come and get involved in Agile Ventures, and you can do Jasmine and Rose and so on. And it sounds like that's the bells. The bells. There we go. Right. Good show. All right. Well, I guess I'll stop the broadcast there.